We've got a 2-for-1 special on early 20th century cocktails. Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. If it's Wednesday, we have a cocktail video coming at you. Today we are going to do kind of a 2-for-1 deal. I came across the Satan's Whiskers cocktail in a cocktail book I recently purchased, and I got kind of interested in that one, which led me to look at the Bronx Cocktail. Now, the reason I'm doing both of these is it's kind of hard not to talk about one without talking about the other. Now, the Bronx Cocktail comes first. It is probably the late 1900s, early 19-teens, something like that, and it was invented most probably at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York. The second cocktail we're going to talk about is Satan's Whiskers, the sort of original cocktail I looked at. That was created, again, most probably, with these cocktails, the history is a little bit misty, but I believe created somewhere in the mid-1920s, I think, at the Savoy Hotel in London. So we've got two very, very famous hotels from those time periods creating these cocktails. Now, the reason I'm talking about both of them is because they also are very similar in ingredients. In fact, the way we were making these, the only difference in ingredients is going to be one thing, and that's going to be our Grand Marnier that's going to go in one and not the other. All the other cocktail ingredients here are going to be the same. It's just going to be differences in the amounts you use. Now, because of that, I'm going to go with the original recipes. Because over the years, both of these recipes have changed, sometimes significantly, to the point where I find them to be almost indistinguishable, because they change up the way they do things. So we're going to go with the original. I'm going to see which one of the original versions I like better, and at some point we might talk about other variations, but I kind of want to compare these two original cocktails. Okay, so we've got all our ingredients. We're going to get our shakers ready. I'm just going to be using the one jigger today because, again, we're using pretty much the same ingredients for both of them. Okay, we're going to start off with just our orange juice. So these are both, and again, this is the original recipes. If you see other recipes, they might call for more or less of this. Sometimes less, oftentimes less, actually. The one thing that is the same about these two as far as this goes is both of these are going to get 1 ounce of orange juice. Okay, our first problematic ingredients is going to be our vermouths. Now, we're going to use both sweet and dry vermouth in here. Now, for our Satan's Whiskers, we are going to use, the Satan's Whiskers you're going to find very quickly is very similar to just an equal parts cocktail. There's one ingredient that isn't, but everything else is pretty much going to be equal parts. So, over here, we're going to toss in 1 ounce of our dry vermouth. Here in our Bronx cocktail, it basically calls for a dash. I'm going to toss in about 1/8 of an ounce. I think that's pretty good. Pretty close. Again, our sweet vermouth. Over here in our Satan's Whiskers, we are going to get 1 ounce. And here in our Bronx, again, a dash. I'm going to say 1/8 of an ounce. I know 1/8 of an ounce is more than a dash, but I think for our purposes that's going to work just fine. For our gin, I'm here going to use Bombay Sapphire. I think pretty much any London Dry is going to work just fine for this. So we are going to use, for our Satan's Whiskers, continuing on with our equal parts thing, do 1 ounce, and then for our Bronx, we're going to use 2 ounces. Alright, now we're done with our Bronx cocktail. We just got a couple other things. I said it was 1 ingredient, it's actually 2, I'm sorry. We're going to toss in, first of all, 1/2 ounce of Grand Marnier. And just 1 dash of orange bitters. Okay, so we got our ingredients in our shakers. Let's go and get some ice in here and shake them up. Okay, let's go ahead and toss those into our shakers. Let's give them a good shake. Okay, let's get some glasses. Go ahead and double strain in our Satan's Whiskers. Okay. Also double strain in our Bronx. And there we have our Satan's Whiskers and our Bronx. As you can see, this one, the Satan's Whiskers is going to be a little darker because there's more more sweet vermouth in there. So it just comes out with a little bit darker of a hue. But I think we have to decide which one's better. It's very light. It's not bad. It's kind of strange. It almost has a pineapple flavor, which is strange because it doesn't have any pineapple in there. Yeah, there's a fair amount of pineapple flavor in there, but I guarantee there's no pineapple in here. I promise. I'm not sure. It's an interesting flavor. It's very light. There's not much orange in there. Oddly, there's a whole ounce of orange juice in there. I have to say that it's a little thin. It's a little thin on the flavor, I think. So let's try our Bronx. Well, there you get the orange a lot more. I've got to be honest, I don't know if I love that cocktail either. Your gin is not cutting through either one of these drinks very much. Here with only an ounce of gin, I sort of understand that. We got 2 ounces of gin in this one, and it's still... It's not unpleasant in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, it's definitely not... It's a very light cocktail. Like, I think this is probably good if you don't want something too heavy to sort of rest on your stomach. I think you can sip this down. It's really not going to affect you too much, but I kind of was hoping for a little bit more flavor on this one. I'm going to go back and try our Satan's Whiskers one time as well. It's really tough. These are both very what I would kind of call little cocktails. There's not a ton of flavor. What is there is good. I think I maybe like kind of more robust flavors, so these aren't quite my speed. I think you'd probably be happy with either one of these. If I was going to make one of these on my own, I think I would probably go ahead and make the Satan's Whiskers. I think there's maybe just a little bit more flavor going on there. But they're both fine. They're both very pleasant cocktails. I can't tell you they're my favorite cocktails I've ever made or anything, but they are certainly pleasant. And on that bombshell, I want to thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good drink. Have a good day.